day, everybody. Welcome back to Cheryl's Kitchen. I'm Charlie Niner, host, writer, and producer. My subjects often deal with violent and traumatic events. Viewer discretion is advised. While I was researching Lenin, Stalin, and a few other dictators, I came to the realization that dictators of all stripes use the same basic playbook, with variations depending on the culture or the ethnicity of the local people. So in no particular order, I have put together a little primer, my version of how to be a dictator. So as first point, as a dictator, you only need a handful of loyal minions that do your bidding. The true believers who worship the ground you walk on. You've seen them here in Canada. Hitler had them. Lenin had them. Stalin had them. Idi Amin had them. Those loyal minions will work their tails off to make sure the revolution, or whatever it is you want, happens. And the peasants will follow your every wish. Each one has their loyal minions that are loyal to them, and those loyal minions will have loyal minions, and those loyal minions are all yours. They belong to you. So my second point is that develop a sense of paranoia. Trust no one. Stalin actually said that. He said he didn't even trust himself. You'll need a sense of paranoia. Maybe some of your loyal, or what you thought were loyal minions, see themselves as your replacement. These guys are like Sith Lords. You know what I'm saying? If for you Star Wars fans, that the student or the student always kills the senior Sith and takes over. That's what these guys are like. They may plot to unseat you, so a well-developed sense of paranoia is needed, even if it means the deaths of your friends. Stalin had 2 of his NKVD chiefs tried and executed. He purged the Communist Party of the Soviet Union and the Red Army. Hitler had the leadership of the SA executed, including the leader, an Ernst Röhm, who had been Hitler's companion since the Nazi Party was formed. So let's talk about the media. Get your message out. Control every aspect of the media. Those pesky journalists can be dealt with, like Markov from Bulgaria. A good propaganda chief is also necessary. A spin doctor, whatever you want to call them. They'll ensure your message gets out and understood. And Goebbels from Nazi Germany was a consummate spin doctor. So in the modern era, it's not just TV and radio and print media that you have to control. You have to control social media. So if you have to shut down the internet or actually, be very strict with it, you have to do that as a dictator. Rule with an iron fist. Make sure your message is the only one that's heard. A quote, yell it loud enough, long enough, and a lie eventually becomes the truth. And Joseph Goebbels said that. Only speak with those journalists that are friendly or you have paid off. Don't speak with foreign journalists. And another hint, when people start calling you out things, start calling them names. Here in North America, the words racist, Nazi, and white supremacists seem to work really well. Free speech is tolerated in dictatorships, you know that, but only if you agree with the leader. With the media comes something called dissent. Dissent is the enemy of dictatorships. It is poison to a dictator. Dissent cannot be tolerated in a dictatorship. It must be stamped out ruthlessly. And we see this going on over in Russia with the arrest and detention of the Russian opposition leader. Intimidation, exile, and possible death are but a few of the tools available to a dictator to ensure that he can hold on to his power. Lenin had the Mensheviks tossed out of the legislature, guaranteeing the ascendancy of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Stalin had Trotsky exiled in 1929 to Kazakhstan, and then have all the way out of the Soviet Union to Mexico, where he was executed in 1940. Hitler, for the most part, had dissenters killed or sent to the Eastern Front or to concentration camps. And I say again, do not tolerate dissent. North Korea comes to mind. The most restrictive, oppressive regime on earth is that of North Korea. Secret police. You need a secret police. In reality, a political police. Their purpose is to stamp out dissent and root out the opponents of the leader. Monarchies had secret police. Tsarist Russia had the Okhrana. They developed the protocols of the Elders of Zion, which we now know today is a huge lie, but many, many fools still believe it. The Germans had the Gestapo, the Soviets the NKVD and KGB, and the East Germans had the Stasi. And there are just but a few. There are many more. The secret police need information. So where do they get their information from? Well, the same as regular police, the citizens, the people. So this is what you have to do. You have to encourage neighbors to rat out neighbors. You have teachers rat out the parents or other teachers who aren't progressive enough. You teach kids to rat out their elders and their teachers and their playmates even. So the primary purpose of the secret police is to promote fear and distrust amongst the population. You got a very, very small taste of it during the pandemic when neighbors, sometimes here in Canada, even in Winnipeg, were phoning the authorities to report there were too many cars in front of a certain address. There were more than 10 people in a certain address. This is what you're looking at under a dictatorship, except a million times worse. While you're at it, politicize the military and the regular police. Their loyalty is to you, the leader, not to the country. Saddam Hussein did this. You can see this with the Republican Guard. Not all enemies of the state need to be executed. Some can be re-educated in special camps or that are set up just for them. Establish a network of re-education camps to set the unbelievers straight. While we're talking about education, let's talk about the education of the young. Not just the 3 R's, but you're going to politicize them too. Your way is the only way. Teachers need to know that, and the youth need to know that. Youth groups, now I'm going to use 2 examples, the Hitler Youth in Germany and the Young Pioneers in the Soviet Union, can sure help a dictator hang on to power for that much longer. The older folks, like myself, are going to be resistant. But why else would you set up those re-education camps if you're not going to use them on the unbelievers, like myself? Political education in the military is required as well. So another thing you can do as a dictator, when things get a little hot for you, ostracize an identifiable group or ethnicity as subversives or enemies. Humanity has done this since day one, but dictators use it to prop up their regime. Hitler did it to the Jews. Lenin and Stalin did it to the Jews and the kulaks, which are those people that owned land, but when things got hot, they always blamed the kulaks. As a ruthless dictator, and there is no other kind, setting up an event to galvanize the majority into action isn't difficult. Set fire to a meaningful building, or have a popular figure assassinated to get people onto your side. For instance, the Reichstag, Hitler and the Nazi Party basically plotted to burn that place, and when it happened, he grabbed power. Let's talk about laws and justice. You're going to ask, where are the lawyers and the judges in all this? Well, the laws and the justice system, as you as a dictator, are what they say, are what you says it is. Judges and lawyers who don't see it your way need to be retired or re-educated. Again, why else would you build re-education camps? I suppose you could execute a few for crimes against the state, but this might outrage some people in the free world. If it does, make a few amends. They'll eventually forget about it a few years down the road. Develop a two-tier justice system. The lower level you can use for mundane things like civil suits, like arguments over property lines, or maybe Billy punched Tommy in the head and you want to take him to court for assault. The upper tier is for crimes against the state, and those are what you say are crimes against the state. So if Billy punches Tommy in the face, but Tommy is a son of a party member, you have just now committed a crime against the state. Your minions, remember your loyal minions? Keep them in check. Pit them against each other. Rivalries are good for the leader, unless, of course, someone wants to be your rival. If your minions are at each other's throats, they won't be plotting against you. It helps to have spies in your organizations who report to you. The NKV and KGB were adept at this. In the Red Army, every company of about 100 people, every ship, every army unit, air unit would have a political officer to ensure the commanders and the men towed the party line. It was very overt. You couldn't miss them. There was also one soldier in every 100 or so that was a covert political operative, a snitch, who would collect information and pass it on to the commissars so you could keep the people in line. One last group I think you're going to have to deal with are the smart ones, the intelligentsia. These are the people you're going to get on board with you so you can have your revolution and overthrow the leaders and take power. So you're going to need them to do that. Stalin called them useful fools. Once you have the power of life and death over people, they may start complaining, we didn't sign up for this. So why else would you have those re-education camps? These poor souls have lost their way and need your help. If that doesn't work, well, there are more permanent solutions to solve the problems. Pol Pot found a way, and it cost 2 million people their lives. Well, that's about it for my primer on dictators. Remember, this is information only, not to be taken seriously. And, until the next time, keep your stick on the ice.